Alright, this is the Wolfman, and it's time for the Retro Time Machine, baby, where your host Jay Jennings talks to the grooviest cats of the 70s. Now, without further ado, here he is, my main man, Jay Jennings.
Well, hi everybody, and welcome back to the Retro Time Machine podcast. I am your host, Jay Jennings. This is the show where we talk about all things retro and we chat with the grooviest stars of the 70s. We've had a lot of great guests in the past, and we're going to have more coming up in the future. We also discuss classic shows that you can't see anymore, ones that haven't been out on DVD, like Wonderama or Sinister Seymour. So today is no different, as we are doing a special on Dusty's Treehouse, that great puppetry show for children that was on from 1970 to 1980, originating on CBS KNXT TV here in Los Angeles. And it was a great show, and as I said, it followed in the footsteps of probably Wonderama. Was on before and at the same time as Marlowe. Great educational show for kids. Mr. Rogers is another comparison. Captain Kangaroo you can compare to, and of course Wonderama. What did all these great children's shows have in common? They were on a one-on-one even level with children, and that's why they were so successful and had long runs, 10 years, 20-year runs. Only the best shows, no wonder they're hard to find, along with the Electric Company and Sesame Street and all those shows. Let's get to today's show, and we're honoring Dusty's Treehouse. And as I said, it was a great show, and it was about puppetry and learning lessons and life lessons between the host Stu Rosen and his little puppets. And also it had a moral and a message, like all these shows did, without being religious or trying to, take over the role from the parents, but just, I'm your friend, I'll be there if you need me. It's not always right. Look both ways before you cross the street. Just cool stuff. And Stu Rosen playing Dusty did all that. They were morality plays for a half hour for 10 years, first on Saturdays and then on Sundays. You got to just watch the coolest guy, kind of like a big brother or an uncle, who had a treehouse up somewhere in the meadow. And in there lived animals and plants and trees, and they all talked and helped each other. It was a television show that, as I said, featured the puppets of Tony Urbano. First it was local, then it went national. It won 8 Emmys and a Peabody. And anyone who remembers it just remembers that catchy song. But this was the brainchild of Stu Rosen, who previously had hosted a show called Dusty's Attic on KCET between 66 and 67. So Stu had a lot of experience in children's programming. Sounds very similar to Bob McAllister. Anyway, the star of the show, as I said, was Stu Rosen, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention the puppets of Tony Urbano. His 3 co-hosts, that would be Maxine, the crow, and then, of course, we had Stanley, the spider, okay, and then Scooter Squirrel. So those were the 3 main characters. Great. I mean, the set, by the way, was the biggest. It had the biggest budget for any children's show at the time, which I think is really cool. Yeah, they basically built that set. They took a chance on this show, and it ended up being a big hit, as I said, garnering 8 Emmys. But these 3 guys were the star of the show. And for example, some of the episodes would be, they would talk about politics or music, behavior, be careful what you wish for. And Maxine, was the kind of the town gossip, and had an annoying voice, but you still fell in love with her, and that's the crow. Scooter was great. The squirrel, always asking Dusty for help on his homework, and does he want to throw a baseball? And of course, the young one, and that's Stanley the spider, who always needed help with his homework, and Stu as Dusty would help him get out of trouble, using not only puppetry but puppet theater and live action, mixing live action theater with live actors. Like Stu would be like have a dream. He had a nightmare because he ate too many hamburgers before going to bed. So he dreams this dream where the stomach ache demon is after him. So it was really trippy for kids, but as I said, it didn't have any hidden messages. It was good versus evil, right versus wrong. And Stu was a great host for 10 years on KNXT Channel 2. Anyway, we're going to go over some of the segments that were on the show.
Okay then, come on, let's go.
Okay.
I'll race you over to the balloon.
Wait!
Let me open the door for you. Come on, come on.
I'm in.
Are you here?
Yeah.
Oops, watch my feet.
Ow.
Okay. Be careful. Oh, boy. Well, today we're going to take a trip to Hunt's Ketchup to find out how they're making ketchup. Let's go! Okay. See?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we are in the tomato field. Of course, they grow tomatoes on vines. And when they're all nice and red and ripe, then they have to harvest them.
And if you remember a while back, I brought these glasses on and I was mentioning that each one has a personality of its own, like here's a tall, skinny guy, and here's a short, fat guy, and here's a little short girl, and here's a medium-sized boy, and they're all different. But the thing that really impressed me was that though they're all different, this little gal, this little chubby fella, this little fella with a bow tie, and Tex here.
Yeah, Tex.
And this little skinny guy. And this skinny guy. Whoops. The important thing is, no matter how tall you are, how short you are, or how fat you are, it's what's inside that counts.
Well, there's something I'd like to tell you, too.
Okay.
Well, what it is if I had to pick up anybody in the whole world to be adopted by, I'd pick you.
Oh, thanks a lot, Stanley. I appreciate that.
Hmm.
Do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Oh, goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. Stanley.